Welcome to the man of this is 7 p.m. already. Maliko Sondaya, let me close my shirt so I say I'm showing my fine body. Criticism when you are handsome, criticism when you are ugly. No one is free. Lamansi Kapa. Welcome if you are just joining me. Welcome to the Man of Thought, aka the Black Panther of Nigeria, aka the Villain of Truth. So I'm waiting for people to join me. Today we have few things to cover. The barriers between Africans and Black Americans, which are also Africans. So just joining me, you're welcome. I'm giving out few minutes to see people who are going to be joining me live. I don't know how long this conversation will be going. We started this conversation today talking about how Black Americans and how do Africans and Black America begin to come back together as brothers and sisters that we truly are. Because trust me, it is also apparent that we know that our brothers and sisters according are under attack. We can ignore because it does not affect us, because it has nothing to do with us, but we cannot deny. But we cannot deny the reality. That's what today's conversation is all about. So I'm telling you, if you're joining me, make sure you are going to be contributing to today's conversation on how can Africans and Black America unite? I know today is Monday. I know this conversation is needed by weekend. I am also planning and I'm working hard to bring, what do they call it? To get people who would come and educate us. But at the same time, as Africans who watch my program and every other person who watch my program, what ways can we make all these things possible without, if our ancestors are actually alive, watching us, which I believe they are, and they see what's going on within Africans and the Black American culture, I don't think they'll be happy. I think if Martin Luther King is alive or is in the spiritual realm and can see exactly what we are doing as people, Black Americans and Africans, do we think he's going to be proud of us? Neymar, welcome. I can still remember you. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Yasina plays. Yo too. Yeah. Thanks for those who are showing love. Please, for those of us who are joining us live, your contributions to our conversation is very, very, very important. I wouldn't appreciate silence. I would appreciate every ideas. Her, Lamansi Kapa. We have something we were discussing earlier today, and we are continuously speaking about the subject. This morning, around 11 p.m. or 12 p.m., we were discussing about how can we resolve or bring back the Black American. And I spoke about it at length to a certain degree. And I told my audience that I will be coming back live this evening. And the reason was because while we were having those discussions, it was raining heavily, heavily. And so I decided, because of network issues, to step back a little bit. Let me ask first, before we even, so audience would join us, how are we all doing? How was today, Monday, in the life of 9 to 5 people? How is life today for those who are bosses? How is life today for those who are students? How is life today generally for everyone? If you would like to share and you have subjects around how your day went, or something that you have as challenge that you think that the man of thought can actually talk about, please share it. We will still dive into our subject, but we can at least relate together and reason as brothers and sisters. For those who are joining me live, it is important, critically important, necessarily important that you show me love, that you show me love. What do I mean by showing me love? At least show me double like, double tap your screen and like. How did your day go? I don't need to ask the people who are religious people how is church today, because we know mostly on Mondays people don't have church service, but some people, most pastors will want to have church service because now it's all about the money. It's all about the money. Even the days that the Bible did not ask people to come to church, they asked people to come to church. They just find one events, all kinds of events in churches. So please, ladies and gentlemen, I remember a particular poem. Is it a poem that I was being taught when I was a child? And the man says something. It was an elderly man who taught me that particular statement. He said, ladies and gentlemen, take life easy and do not say fail to the end, because while there is life, there is hope. Let's look on life as a game and the world as a playing field, which is not a continuous sorrow or joy. But while playing, be careful not to fall, for he who is falling finds fewer friends and little mercy. I was 14 years old when I learned that, or 15, 14 or 15. And when he made that poem and he taught us about those things, he says, while we go through life, let us be careful with what we do with a lot of people. And as today tends to be Monday, most people would be concerned about life. Most people will be concerned about how to prosper, how to succeed, how to impress, how to get the job, how to do everything. But they also need to be aware that regardless that you're trying to climb to the ladder, there's a possibility that you can fall. You can make a wrong choice. You can put your hand into a business you're not supposed to put your hand into. You may make certain runs. If you're an African person and I say runs, you might know what I mean. Runs in a sense that you might engage yourself in doing some secret things just to be able to get more extra cash. And that can backfire. When you are in level 2 or level 3 in life, it can reduce you back to level 1. That was the meaning of that poem. So be conscious that while you are trying to climb the ladder of success, be careful that climbing is not assured, neither stagnancy is not assured. So you have to be careful while you climb, or else you will fall even before you get to the ladder of success. And I've experienced a lot of people face the same challenges. I'm asking, how are you doing? 14 people are joining, 15 people are joining, 17 people are joining, 18 people are joining. It doesn't change the fact that we have something to discuss. Talk to me. Talk to me, those of you that are joining me live. Hmm? This is the man of thought. I'm open to, let's see, let's talk. Please talk to me. Whatever is going on in your mind, whatever is going on in your life, or would you just want us to dive into the conversation for today? Hmm? Speak, 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 talk, talk. I know you can't speak. What I mean is right. If you haven't subscribed and you're trying to maybe chat, please do subscribe and then you can chat me up. Let us do this. Should we continue on today's conversation for those of us who joined me earlier today? Because I know some of you, those people who come to live, some people would go and watch certain individuals on live. Those people might just lay down and they are not doing anything. There was one I went to live at some point and I saw a woman rubbing the hands of her men. And I saw people chatting, showing love, showing emoji, and the rest of it. I'm like, wow, is that attractive on YouTube? Rubbing the stomach of the man, rubbing the hands of the man, and you see people commenting. Wah, 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 wah. Now, when it comes to my situation, I am here to have a discussion with you, discussion that has to do with us as people. Now, I'm not, you guys are not writing. Only Nema and Yasmina Place has been able to say something. Please, for the 10 people who are joining me live, 12, show some likes. And should we proceed on today's conversation? I would like it to be engaging. Halale. Okay. I think you were with me this morning. You were with me this morning, right? Halale. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyone who writes on my page, I can cram or just, it's just like I see it and I'm like, I think I've seen this person right before. So, should we continue on the conversation we had this morning? How did your day go? Is there any subject you want to treat before we dive into today's subject, or do we just dive into today's subject? I'm asking the audience. Thank you, Alale. LOL, sure. Sure on what? To proceed, or sure you have something to say? If you have something to say, please proceed first. I'm giving out some time to see if anyone is writing anything. Please write. I am here. Any question, anything? No, proceed. Oh, okay, 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 okay. Alale asked me to proceed on the conversation. So for those people who did not join us live in the morning, I will try to frame it in a very small way so you can understand what our subject is all about. And I need the opinions of everyone and the viewpoints of everyone. The contributions are all important. There was a person who even spoke to me this evening who wrote to me on my page while I was discussing, and he says, do you need $1,000? I'm like, you want to give me $1,000, or are you doing sarcastic? Well, this morning we had some conversations, and it boils down to the Black Americans, our brothers, and Africans. I am an African person. Specifically, I'm from Nigeria, and every aspect of African, I love it so much. But as time goes on, when I opened this YouTube channel, my vision was to make sure that I take care of certain people. Those were part of the reasons. And as I proceed, I begin to see other issues that are important that we can discuss about. Some of them, I met with great people right here opening this YouTube channel. I met great people. Some of them reached out. One of them is a very close person you might call, let me not call the name because she might not like me to call her name. And she was very supportive. And she's a Black American lady. And while we were having discussions, I began to speak to few people. Some ladies would just chat me up and, from US, from Canada, from Australia. These are Black Africans. And when they begin to talk about the way they are being demonized when they come to Africa, the way Black Africans are not accepting them is worrisome to them. I ask them sometimes, I'm like, can we come on live and discuss things like this? They say that they wouldn't want to come on live to talk about it because they would be demonized by their own Black people. And if they say anything that is not absolutely correct, they might get attacked. And it makes me look into Africa that sometimes in Africans, like Nigeria specifically, we have the same kind of mindset on how we view things. When people come on live to speak, I can say something that I don't intend in my mind right now because I'm making a live video. It is easy for me to make a short video and put it on live and everybody would think that, oh, this guy is very good at what he says. But I like to be authentic with myself. I like people seeing me the way I speak. Now, while I am here, I am not master of my words. I am not a professional. I'm just learning. But out of it, I know that my intention is to do good. Perhaps I make a mistake by the way I speak. My expectation is for people to understand. And if they don't understand, then I have to follow the path that I think is right for me. But while we were having these conversations, they were retracting. They don't want to engage with the social media stuff. And I told them that most Black Americans, according to what social media is promoting Black Americans in the negative light. And if you are trying to come to Africa here, we have culture and traditions that we respect and we hold value to them. But the way social media are promoting you guys, if we do not have the decent ones who are actually coming live to talk about how they are also useful and good women in the Black or the Western culture, the world would demonize them for many things. So there's a responsibility they have to carry. There's no reason for anyone to shy away from it. I also understand that in Africa also, we are doing the same thing. It doesn't mean Black Americans are different. So fortunately for me, I was able to meet few people also, which I spoke to somebody called the Enlightened One yesterday, and we went at length. We discussed spirituality, religion, and the rest of it, and then we branched into that aspect. And he made certain claims. In fact, he said that Africans are making more money than Black Americans in their country. I'm like, wow. I hope we did not see that as success. I hope when Africans go to America, for example, to work, I hope when you are making money than the Black Americans, I hope you are not seeing it as success, as you are successful. Because for me, if the people who are born in a culture, who have been existing in a particular country for a very long time, we understand that we all came from the same ancestors. Due to colonialism and slavery, they took these people away. And when they took these people away, we were privileged to still have the soil, to still have our land, and we were able to grow with our parents regardless of the imperfections. These people were being enslaved, they were being forced, and now they become a citizen of a place they never planned for. So I hope when Africans go to the Western culture and they tell you that an African man is earning more than the Black Americans, I hope we are not seeing it as success. I hope we have conscience. Because if someone else are coming into our country to do the same work we are doing, it actually happens. And we are paying them more. Just because trouble has not come now doesn't mean trouble cannot come. But when these other people want to come to Africa, there's always a situation, always a problem. Sometimes, some of them good. But I'm like, can we raise the consciousness of people for us to understand that these are our brothers? They should be welcome so they can invest. In fact, I have spoken to some Black Americans who are willing to invest in Africa. But the problem is, they think that Africans would not welcome them. In fact, some of them have experiences that when they come to just visit for tourism and the rest of it, the way Africans treat them is not actually cool. So the fear is this: we are in America or in these so places, and we are not even doing fine. Now Africans are coming, and it seems as if there is a war that is being waged against them, which is to destroy the original Black Americans that raised America. They want to destroy the Blacks. These are just theory. And then they want to bring in the Africans, knowing fully well that when they destroy the Black Americans, Africans that come there are not origin of the land, so they can be disposed and they can be sent back any single time. But if we are conscious that these are our brothers and sisters, we would find a way to unite and welcome them. This is what the conversation is all about. Now, we have traditions and culture. They have other ways they use in viewing their own cultures and traditions over there. Trust me, I believe the normal African culture and traditions is the original way. But now, due to the fact that they've been lost and now they've been able to build their own culture, I think they deserve to also be welcomed back to the fold. Now, here is the problem. How can I welcome you back home when I can't welcome you with your culture? If I tell you to come to my house and I don't want to fully welcome you based off your perception of life and the rest of it, how do we call that welcome? Before we proceed, let me read a few things here. Halele says that there's a phrase I heard and it comes in handy a lot. People can only meet you to be the extent that they have not met themselves. And the American culture and others, we are not raised or taught to. Maliko Sondaya Lamansikapa. I repeat that particular statement. It says, there is a phrase I heard and it comes in handy a lot. People can only meet you to the extent that they have met themselves. Wow! I got that rema. And the American culture and others, we are not raised or taught to. I got that a little bit confused. Now, what I would say about the first one that it says is people can only meet you to the extent that they have met themselves, which simply means that I will bring it to African. Africans have not shown love to one another. And like I said earlier about, I was paraphrasing something from Julius Malema, who said that Africans always worship things that look different from them, but when they see their own brothers, they despise them. They find a way to bring them down. So if there is no love among Africans fully, how can they extend the love to their lost brothers and sisters? That's one view I use in looking at that particular message. Now he proceeded and he said, and the American culture and others, we are not raised or taught to. Now, flipping it back to the Americans, I'm a little bit confused about that. I didn't get that particular stuff. Now, he proceeded and he said, understand or meet ourselves more than we are comfortable with. But when we stay within our comfort zone, then we aren't growing and we aren't learning ourselves better. What Ayalel is actually implying is that maybe Black Americans are not willing to come to Africa. Please correct me if that's what you're implying to. He's saying, please correct my ways, not what I'm implying. Okay, can you spread it while we continue the conversation? Because when you use the word comfort zone, that means they are so relaxed with the situation. That's how I view it. Like maybe they are being relaxed with the situation of what's actually going on there, that they are not willing to step away and come to Africa to watch things. But you can help me expatiate so I get the message perfectly. But the first one you said was like raising certain consciousness and awareness within the Africans that maybe it might be difficult for us to be able to achieve this. Everything should be difficult. Life itself is supposed to be difficult. The idea that you're alive doesn't mean that things need to be interesting. It's that things are going to be shaky. You can't get everything right. And so, one of the things that have held us in the past and our ancestors losing Africa as a continent in many ways due to colonialism and the rest of it, one of the things that contributed to the colonial masters taking over Africa was basically because there was greed among us and there was hatred among us. Until date, there's still hatred. In fact, you see South Africa competing with Kenya, competing with Nigeria, competing with themselves. And I'm like, what's the point? Why are we competing? It doesn't make any sense. We should be welcoming and embracing each other. Someone wants to say Afrobeat is better than Amapiano and the rest of it. It doesn't make any sense. Why are we debating that when we should be working together to make Africa global? Okay, I think he said something nice. He said people can't accept the truth if they can't accept their truths. People can't be friendly and love others if they can't be friendly and love themselves. Okay, so it was actually implying to the first thing that I was talking about. Now we are not talking about, I love what you said, but I look at it from a different angle. I'm saying that this is not about the individualistic way of viewing things. This is about the broad way. This is about collective things. And part of the collective things is perhaps there's a way, which I believe there's always a way. There's a possibility for anything. If there's a way, what are the things we can do to embrace our brothers and sisters? And I made it clear also that Black American men are always welcome in most places in Africa. I believe that Black American men are welcome in Africa. Here's the reason. Whatever the women of African countries want, the men just allow, in a sense. When I use the word allow, I don't mean the kind of allow some people are thinking. What I'm saying is this: if our women are comfortable with Black American men, African men don't give a damn. Like Nigeria, for example, if I see a white guy, a Black American guy come to my community to date a girl or to find a girl, I'm not intimidated. I'm not worried. It doesn't, as long as my sister is safe, as long as my cousins are safe, as long as she is also safe, I'm protecting my sister and I know she's in the good end and the guy is going to take care of her, I have no issues with that. But when our women are having issues with the Black American women, because that's exactly what the perceptions are. African men do not hate Black American women. Maybe some of them do. But I am bringing it to you, first of all, to see from the perception that there's already a disparity between most Black American women and Black American men. And so most of the Black American men are tired of the Black American women. Please, when I say these things, I'm not talking about general. I'm talking about majority of the things that have been posted on social media. And we might say that social media is not reality. But if the perception that social media is showing about you is in a particular way, that's how we will view you in the real world. And that's the reason why we are creating this platform, so that there can be a conversation to change the mentality of certain individuals. So part of what we have seen in Black Americans today, it seems as if they are trying to degenerate the original Black Americans so that Africans can come in, dominate, take the resources, and theory, that's what I'm saying. Like they could wipe out the Black Americans slowly. And the people that are remaining, native Indians and the rest of it, those are the people that would, and the whites and the rest of it, those are the people that would now have America as a country. That's how it seems. Because the Black structure family that the Black Americans used to have is kind of destroyed in a way. When we look at the research, and they will tell us sometimes that our research are wrong, Google is wrong, Wikipedia is wrong, and all of that is wrong. But when you look at it, most of the young men, Black men, are being hunted every time for one crime or the other. Most of the men who are married, some of them complain about paying alimony and the child support and this and that. Some women that I've spoken to in the past says that no, it's not true. These are just rare cases that Black women are trying to protect Black men. But I'm like, sometimes when I look at it and I stay back, I'm like, how can Black women be protecting Black men and Black men are running away from Black women? I know that certain people who I discuss with are the decent ones. And trust me, I have created, in this discussion I'm having with you guys, it has broke the relationship between me and certain individuals. They tell me that we have been traumatized, we have been held back by the American society, by the Western culture. They are destroying us. Why are Africans not accepting the Black Americans? And I told them, I said that Africans, our young children are looking up to the Black Americans. They are not looking up to Puerto Ricans. They are not looking up to Mexicans. They are not looking up to Asians, but they see a color that seems like their color. And the way you dress, the way you twerk, the way you put your fingernails, the way you talk, our younger women in Africa are imitating the Black American women. And because they are imitating them, most of the elders are seeing these particular issues going on. And when we now see most of the Black American women, which is part of the culture stuff, is like there is no respect in their relationship. They may have respect in the relationship, but the way Africans view it, we are like, the reason why women kind of get submissive to their men is not because our women are weak, not because African women are weak. African women are very strong. But the idea is that for us to have a long-lasting relationship, we have to let one person lead the relationship. And because we want one person to lead the relationship, we have to show that person that we are willing to follow your lead. That is the idea between the submissive part of African women. But Black American women, when we talk about them and their spouse, most times, according to what is on social media, it is always about 50-50. If I pay house rent, you pay house rent. If I pay car bill, you pay car bill. In fact, there was a conversation we are actually having, and it gets to a point where we were asking live on this particular program about 2 weeks Sunday, and they were saying that if I take a woman to a restaurant, I should pay my bill and she should pay her bill. There was a Black American woman who was saying that, and we were arguing like, we are Africans. If we take our women anywhere, we are not expecting our women to pay a dime. Dating, marriage, relationship, we are not expecting. Now, there's a difference when we are broke as men and our women wants to support us. But we want to show them that we have them on lock. We want to provide and protect for them. We don't care if you are making billions, but when we decide we want to take you out, we want to take you out. When we make a decision, we want to be responsible for certain things, because there's something that is in the core of every man. The core that is in every man is a man wants to serve. If you do not give him a ground for him to serve, he most likely would walk away, because he sees that he's not being welcome where he can actually flourish as a man. Is God's given purpose. So it got to some point that when we look at the kind of movies that we watch about the Black American people, a woman and a man might buy a building, a house, and then the woman says she's tired in the relationship and she's sleeping with another man on their matrimonial bed. Movies, oh, this is not reality, oh. Sleeping on the matrimonial bed, and the man comes and he starts screaming, "Why would you bring a man to my house?" And the woman will call cops. Hello, 911. My husband is disturbing the peace of the children. And they will handcuff the man and take him to jail. We hear this on social media. We see it on podcasts. We see it on movies. Please, if I'm lying, correct me. Oh. Correct me. Before I proceed, let me hold my thoughts there. Let me read a few comments while I proceed. I say, I think they believe Africa see them indifferently and disrespect them. That was from Lou. Christ King says Christ is king. All right, we know that. Halalei says that, but it starts at the individual and it grows to the collective. As an individual, as a person now, I am trying to find a way to mitigate around this conversation. And if I can be of, it came from my mind to talk about it. And thank God someone like you are engaging in the conversation. So that means it's starting with the individual, like you rightfully said. So if we can make it and we spread this information, then we will be able to find a ground. My objective is to find a middle ground where we can welcome our brothers and sisters. That is my objective. But we have to be able to tell each other the way we see things. And when I told certain individuals that this is how Africans see things, so they will say, oh, why are they seeing things that way? How will you tell somebody to see something? That is how their eyes sees. And then I became the problem. And with that, I have lost great people in my life. But it doesn't stop the fact. If I don't talk about it, it doesn't change anything. In fact, I know topic I can just discuss and I would keep having subscribers and the rest of it. But if it's not impactful, we are just going to come to this life and we die just like certain individuals. We should be making a change. I might not be the one to make a change, but I might be a catalyst that will open the veil. And with that, Africans may be able, possibility we might be able to make a change and see and embrace our brothers and sisters. I don't know where I don't pass, where I never pass. But it's that okay. It's Lab Bahado. I think he's the one from South Africa. I say I live with a lot of blacks and they welcome you as family. If they know you, mean no harm. And black American are more westernized, and what they see on the news and stuff, they think we in Africa suffering. Hmm. Constitution and it says interesting observations. Please, so why is interesting? Correct me when I'm wrong. I am not the epidemic of knowledge. I am not the wisest man. I call myself the man of thought simply because I wrestle with my thinking. I am not a believer. I seek. And when I pick up an idea, I wrestle that idea until I find a balanced ground where I can fix it in. That's why I'm having this conversation. I could be wrong. I am open to corrections. Um, I will still visit one of the things that Hamid Labba said earlier. He says, do we have some people who will have a problem with cultured African women and men dating American blacks, but we as this is in every race? Do we have some people who will have a problem with cultured African women and men dating American black? Now, let me say this before I read Alalei's message. Hamis Lalbahado. Now, I think that Amit is from South Africa. I can kind of recall that we had this conversation this morning. You're from South Africa. And in South Africa, I think that there's white people in South Africa and there's black people in South Africa. So I don't so much know much about South African people. But one of the things that I can say is this. Most Africans are kind of, it is not, okay, let us put it this way. In what I know about African culture, when you want to get married, you're getting married to the family of the people. The family. That means as a man, when you get married to a woman, you are bringing a family to unite with your family. It's just not about the individuals, not about you and the woman only. It's about the collective family. Now, the importance of it is this. Regardless of the fact that you might be 30 when you get married, or you might be 35 when you get married, and she might be 30 and she might be 28 or 26, the elders think that you both are still children and they want to guide both of you to be able to flourish in the relationship. Now, perhaps there's a misunderstanding. If it was dating, it is easy for both of you to separate. But if there's marriage, if it is marriage, when you want to step away, your family from the woman's side will call her and put her into order to tell her that no, this is normal in marriage. You are going to face challenges like this. Why both of you would grow. And this is one of the reasons why African marriage lasts long. Do you get what I'm saying? If in the Western culture, I think, I could be wrong, most of the marriage is between individuals. They might know some of their family, but they don't really bring in families into coming together. I had a wedding. My sister had a wedding last week Saturday. I was the host. They did it in my property right here. And while they celebrated, we, the families of my sister, the families, they are even from a different tribe, but they did it in our own way. So all these things now, we have met with each other. We have embraced each other. We have seen each family as one. Now, whatever issue is between the two individuals in the marriage, we will find a way to fix it. We are not trying to let them separate. We are trying our best to make sure we fix it. Now, in the Western culture, it seems it's different, that whenever people are just, individuals can just come and say, oh, I want to have marriage. I don't know your family. You don't know my family. We can just say, I love each other. So whenever any little thing happen, oh, you said this, oh, you said that, and before you know, they break up. So what do I mean by all this story that I've narrated? What I mean is this. If a black American woman come, if our family do not accept the Black American woman, the reason why they would not accept the Black American woman is most likely because of the perception they have about a Black American woman. So if a man says, I am bringing you as my wife, as a woman, to my family, and the and the Africans are saying, don't you see these Black American people, how they do? Part of the reasons could be, in our African culture, when women are not incentivized, what English am I using? Incentivized to leave the marriage, like paying alimony, like paying for separation, paying, we call it divorce, paying for all kinds of payments. For a woman to separate in Western culture, she would make money if you are wealthy. She can have custody of the children. She can decide you're not going to see the children. Most of these things happen in the Western culture based on what we see on social media and TVs and Netflix. So if the elders have this perception, how come would they welcome her? Now, if you decide as the man to proceed with her, she will feel your family don't like her. Are you getting the point? Now she thinks Africans are not welcoming her. But your own family are actually doing that to protect you. I hope I've been able to debunk certain things so you can look into that. Halalei says that in the American culture, a lot of people, or any race, none of us actually know how to do a relationship properly. I used to say it too, but it seems as if I am the crazy person that I don't know what I'm saying. And I asked a question one time. I told somebody, I said, if we have to teach the Black Americans, if we want to come back to the African and we want to welcome each other, in the relationship perspective, which one do you think we should uphold? In the African perspective, relationship lasts long. Trust me, in the earlier days of every marriage, it is not always interesting because both of you have different views of life. It is interesting when it is in the dating world, but when it becomes marriage, it's a little bit different. The first year might be interesting. The second year might be delicious, something like that. But the moment the woman begins to become pregnant, the man begins to lose his job, one thing or the other, thinking that he was going to be making more money, and he starts getting disappointed and stuff like that. Challenges begin to show up and things begin to get shaky. But we find a way to make things work because of family reasons and other reasons we have culturally. And we have long-lasting relationship. And I asked this person the question, I said, is it not proper that if the Black American people want to come to the African, they are supposed to learn our ways because our ways are actually working? We're having children, we're having family. I'm not saying that Africans are perfect. I'm like, in our flaws, we are still able to make certain things work. Because if it is easy for you to always break up in relationship, I have little conversations with you and I'm not happy with you because of the conversations we have, or you didn't pay child support or something, or you didn't do something. And because of that, I just say, hey, we are not, I filed for divorce. Who in Africa wants his children to get married to someone that it doesn't seem as if there's any assurance that the relationship is going to last, when everything that they see about the culture is like every time you try to relate with people like this, they can step down from any marriage anytime. Marriage is just like toilets. They just go, they poop there and they walk away. And because of that, many ladies begin to twerk, they begin to take drugs, they begin to do some certain kind of stuff, when you're looking at it from those kind of perception, you're like, huh, would Africans want to accept this? And remember, I also spot this evening when I spoke about few things about the LGBTQ and the rest of it. I'm like, okay, now we understand also that they have been influenced with the LGBTQ and the rest of it. Some Black American women and men are gay and lesbianism and all of that. And I think they have rights as human beings to live in a safe space in life. But African culture cannot welcome it. That's the reality. African culture cannot welcome it. Why? There are many factors to it. I spoke about too many factors that are applied to it. One of it tends to be our culture, our tradition, religion itself that was brought in by the Europeans. And when the Europeans brought this thing, in the past, in the 1700s, it was a criminal offense due to the Europeans that if they find anyone of same-sex marriage, they would penalize you. And I said, there's a possibility that the reason why they did it that way, they implemented those cultures, and you can see the stories from the Bible that we are supposed to multiply so they could use us for labor. But right now, we are in an industrial technology age. Now they don't want children. Maybe that's the reason, and they understand that the Black genetics are so strong that it can reproduce every single time. Then it seems as if they target the Black because the Blacks have strong genetics, and then they influence it and indoctrinate the children that it becomes a fact that a parent cannot scold their children anymore. So if you scold your child, they might most likely take that child away from you. In fact, I heard and I saw on social media that a lot of people are going to prison for scolding their children. I heard. Let me not say everything finish. So, now, if you can't scold a child, how possible do you think that child is going to grow to be a good child? And now, it gets worse than that. The worst side is this. A child can just come back and tell the school teacher and say that, I am a boy, but I feel like a girl. Can you change my genitalias and give me some boobs? It has become so worse that they would not even ask the parents of the child. And they begin to open the child like barbecue and begin to install hormone blockers and all kinds of things on the child. Then that child can never reproduce for the rest of their life. African, we have culture to multiply as people. In fact, certain individuals will be saying that Africans is overpopulated and the rest of it. The land and the vast land we have, Africans have not even gotten to 30% of, they have not occupied 20%, 25% of the kind of land that Africans have. So we have not occupied 25%. One person will now bring the degeneracy that I was born a boy, but now I become a girl. And I always say this. I do not think that there's anything wrong with LGBTQ and all of that. I don't think anything is wrong with them. Some people might say something is wrong, but I can't say it. Now, here's how I view it. I view that anything that contradicts nature, since the beginning of nature, everything is meant to multiply. When you plant a seed in the ground, the seed is supposed to multiply and become a tree first, and when it becomes a tree, it produces more fruits. When your child and another child, or when a person gets married, the idea is for them to have children. These are the best ways that Africans have been existing for ages. How come do certain people have culture and they say, it is okay for me not to even be anything? I don't want to add up to life. If you can't add up to life, if you cannot participate to create the next generation, what gives you the right to talk to other people's children? For those people who are implementing LGBTQBDDDEFGH, what gives them the right? You make a decision, a personal decision, that you don't want to contribute to humanity, for humanity to continuously exist, and now you are creating an educational system to mesmerize the brain of children to act like you. That's a problem. Marcus Stoney says, watching from South Central LA, California. My regards, my greetings. Amit Labahal is laughing. Then he says they can stay in America, just the ones that want their own pronouns. You get the picture. So where I'm actually diving to is, if the Black Americans that are available who are thinking of, if there's a way that we can mitigate all these things, what are the rules? We cannot talk about embracing each other without understanding the rules of engagement. When the people who came to get married to my sister, when they came, they didn't know anything about our traditions. We didn't know anything about their traditions. But you know, in the African traditions, in Nigeria specifically, the men would want to know the family of the women, and the family of the women are the one giving their daughters out, because they are giving their daughters out because in Africa we value women. Some people think that as Africans, because our women are submissive, is because the men do not value them. No, families value women. Women are not slaves in Africa. In fact, the only thing is that for the sake of children, for the sake of generations to come, one person just have to lead and the other person have to trust the leadership of the other person. There's a statement that says that your intelligence can take you far, but how far can it take you? It says that you cannot beat the river into submission. You cannot beat a river into submission. You cannot be powerful than a sea. You have to surrender to its current. That means that when you want to go into a relationship and you want to flourish in that relationship, you don't have to be defensive in that relationship. You have to surrender to the possibilities of the goodness that can come out of that relationship. This is how Africans have always moved in the direction. If you swim in sea and you think that you can go with your strength, how long can you go? You are going to get fed up and it will drown you. But if you surrender and you allow the currents to flow and you use the currents to move, then you are going to find yourself where you want to go. That's the meaning of that proverb. Now, applying it to marriage is that our women in Africa mostly surrender to the man's leadership. And so far, it has kept us to continuously grow as people, regardless of the fact that we are not perfect, regardless of the fact that, yes, we are not completely united. We understand all these things, but at least there is a possibility and a chance if the generation continuously grow. Then what is the possibility when there's no generation coming? Everybody has turned to different alphabetical, what do they call it? Alphabets. Some are A, some are G, some are Q, some are L, some are B, some are R, S, T, Y, Z. These people, it is difficult for most of them to have children. So that means that in the next 3 generations from now, if care is not taken, Black Americans will be very minority in the culture. But I think that this is where Africans, we have to empathize to understand that these people are our brothers. They are our brothers and sisters. We can see the imperfections in them, and we are imperfect also. The question is, for those who are willing to come back home, which are the women who are willing to come back home, what are the rules of engagement? I don't have the answers. That's why I'm here. What opinion do you have as a Black American person? What opinion do you have as an African? And trust me, I also understand the one of the open relationship stuff, where you're married to somebody and then you're like, oh, I'm not so interested. I don't like, but I want somebody else to come sleep with my husband. I want somebody else to come sleep with my wife. Ah, Africa, we don't. No, 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 no. For me to get aroused, I'll say somebody should come and sleep with. I don't know how that thing work. Oh. So let me start receiving all kinds of advice. Your every opinion is welcome. This is the reason why we are here. I know a lot of Black women in my country that have kids, but their baby daddy is not around here in South Africa. The Black woman will say themselves they are not respected as much. Please help me correct any statement here so I can get exactly the picture. Amit Lal Bahado. I know a lot of Black women in my country. Black women, are you talking about African women? I am using, we are the same, but I'm using, for the sake of conversation, I call the Western women Black American women or Black women. And when I talk about Africans, I talk about African women. Just for the sake of conversation, we are one. So help me rephrase that. And any other opinion, what are the possibilities? What are the other things? Because I had to state out the obvious of the negativity, because I know that most of us, we are, yes, African women. I know a lot of Black African women in my country that have kids, but their baby daddy is not around here in South Africa. The Black woman or the African woman will say themselves they are not respected as much. That's food for thought. I want to ask a question here. Sorry, let me just try to be a little bit defensive. I want to ask, is it majority or minority? Yes, we are seeing that happening here also in Nigeria. Is it majority or minority? Just write if it's majority in your observation, and don't be biased. Don't, no, just say what you see. Do you think it is majority or minority? Do you think it is due to the location you are in, or you think when you go through other places you will see most families, that you will see most single baby mamas? And the reason for these questions is that in South Africa, in every country, there are people like this who will be alphabetical people, who will be whatever. We are only talking about the majority of how we view things. So majority or minority, Amit Lalbahado, please, if you can, I would love to receive a feedback on that. And when you say women are not that respected as much, do you think it happens in this generation basically because of they are kind of emulating the Black American women or the Blacks in other culture, or has it always been that way ever since for a very long time? Because we have to get the picture. You know, I told you certain things earlier when I said that most of these things could be happening because of most of our older parents might be upset that We don't want to accept you because we can see how you influence the younger generations in a negative way. There's a possibility. I've heard people say that. Not a possibility. I've heard people say that. What happened now? I'm not seeing anything from Amit Lalbahado. Is it my network or your network? Is there any problem? I have narrated too many stories and a lot of people have enjoyed my story. Now it's time for us to contribute. People are not contributing. Ogao, Omagao. If you don't want to contribute, then send super chats. I schooled with a girl and she was very well spoken in English. So her parents sent her to the farm and she has been and and never was the same again. And now she has gone so bad that she can't. I think you still have a few things to add up to the story. I'm not saying things like this don't happen. Trust me, I said it earlier that Africans are not perfect. In fact, if you go to jail, please help us know it. In fact, if you go to jail, I've been to jail earlier this year. I went to jail. First allegation by a real estate organization, Arkview Investments. I realized that majority of the people in the cells that I am are people who came there because they raped a young person. Life imprisonment for doing that. And I saw a lot of tribe. There's this particular tribe that I saw mostly in that particular participating in such things. So I'm not saying that Africans are innocent. I'm saying majority. And how do we frown upon it? You said she can't remember anything. It's like witchcraft or what, but she can't even remember us. Wow, that's damaging. Yeah, like I'm saying, when I went to jail, a lot of people are in jail because they raped a young teenager or a young child or stuff like that, and they are given life imprisonment. We see this every day. I don't even think there's a country where you will go and you wouldn't find things like this. Probably maybe you go to Asia, probably maybe you go to Cali, what do they call it? Asia, or what do they call it? Japan, or where, what else? Maybe certain places in Europe, maybe. Maybe there's a possibility that there will be one country that you wouldn't see people do things like this. I think we are humans. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. That's really traumatic. That's really traumatic. But let us ask ourselves a question. Do you think that I'm saying that an average South African person, let's just see, let's even look at our own African side. I've talked about negative things from the perspective of the Black Americans. Maybe we would, by tomorrow we'll have to look at the negative parts from the Africans also. We have to call ourselves out on the negative things we also do that is negative, and we have to reflect on it. So the Black Americans who actually want to come into our relationship should be aware of our negative act, and let's know the perception they use in seeing us also. And like part of the things that Amit Lal Bahado talked about, those are part of the things that happen in Africa. I don't know, maybe such things would happen in the Western culture, but I think it does. For sure. It happens everywhere. But we have to talk about our negative side, and then we complement it. Maybe by weekend, we will talk about the positive things about the Black American women and the Black American men, and the positive things on about the African people. I have talked about the negative things today. Tomorrow or next tomorrow, we'll talk about the positive things about both particular people, that's the Black Americans and Africans. And then we would look for our strengths and use our strengths to build the relationship, not on the negative part. But if we do not call out the negative part, then it seems we are not having a full conversation. I hope you're getting the picture. And I'm also going to be welcoming a lot of people. Please, if you are from Western world, please, you are always welcome. Please, if you want to join me live, join me live. Just go to my page. When you get to my page, look for my phone number, chat me up on WhatsApp, and if we can book out a time and we will come on live and we will have a great conversation. I will tell you, thousands of people will definitely join us. We would have a conversation. Let's reason as people together. Not we talking about twerking, Afrobeat is better than Amapiano, Kenya woman is better than Nigeria woman. Those are not the conversations that help us as people. Let's look for conversations that bring us together, that make us one, rather than find reasons for things that divide us. Hamid Lal Bahadur says that, so I'm wondering, where is the respect for women in Africa? Yes, not everyone is like that, but it's a little bit scary. By the way, I'm liking this topic, and yes, we need to show the rest of the world that Africa is great. Thank you very much. You see, one of the things is that I also realized when I went to jail. When I went to jail earlier this year, I saw people violently beating one another. What, what? In every cell, there are certain people they call section. After section, we have persecutor, we have OC water, we have all kinds of people who are leaders. We have people who are elders in prison. These people have stayed there for many years. Now, when I got to jail, I paid my way. And so they respect me. They gave me, I bought a bed. I did a lot of things. I enjoyed myself while I was in jail, even if it wasn't conducive, but fair enough, I was doing well. But when I saw the way they were assaulting other people, then I realized something and I was able to change it. I saw that regardless of the preaching and the prayers and everything that was going on in jail, people were just becoming bad and worse, and they extort people for money. If your brother was found in jail, in Nigeria jail, they will ask him to call you to send him money, to send them money. And if you're not sending them enough money, they will beat and punish that child or that person. Then there was something I saw. I realized that majority of these guys who were beating and assaulting people in jail were actually doing it because they've been condemned as people. And because they've been condemned as people, they felt there's no redemption for them. Then I entered and I told them, one day I said, Section 1, persecutor and everyone, I know there's goodness in every single one of you. I know you love people, but you know the pain that you have been through staying in jail for a very long time. I know people have disappointed you. Most people have not shown you support and the rest of it. I spoke at length. Come and see cry. In the cell I was, nobody beat anybody in that cell till I left. Because if we continuously condemn people, then they might even lose faith that there's any room for redemption. They used to call me prophet. They used to think I'm a visionary. They used to call me all kinds of stuff. Whenever there's issues, people come to me and they do like, I was like ancestors. I was like the gods of prisoners. This one call me, tell me my problem. I just say, okay, this is how you do it. There's goodness inside of it. When I realized that most people are not being encouraged, and that's why they are kind of terrible, then I realized that sometimes encouraging people can be good. Why do I say this? I think that we have to point out the negative things about us, and then we find the positive things about us also. Amit Labahado Also, I'll putting it out to you. You also as a person, regarding the subject you touched on, African women not being respected and the rest of it. Yes, you agree that it's not everything, but if you have the time, if you have the chance, if you would like us to dive into it, call my number, chat me up on WhatsApp. I'm definitely going to give you feedback immediately. I don't take time. I will give you feedback, and then you can get in touch and we can talk about all this, and we can come live and we discuss stuff like this. Let people know, oh, what are the negative things also about Africans, and then we find the positive things. And on the positive side is where we build the relationship between the blacks that are lost and the Africans. I think with that, that actually might make sense to every conversation we're actually having. The only problem is that I would have loved more people who have better information than the ignorant part of me to come also to enlighten us on the things that we most likely did not know. Because trust me, life is about the story, and social media can narrate a story better. If you are not coming out to give out the side of your story, social media will narrate negative things about you because that's what they publicize most times. Please, Black American people, join in this conversation. I know I've not been able to come up with any concrete thing today, and I wasn't open to. I wanted to hear the opinion of others on this particular subject so that we can look into the African part. And I think that what Amit Lal Bahadur talked about is African men also not being responsible to their women, not being respectful to their women. We would have to touch on that probably tomorrow. I would like if you can join also, you're 100% welcome. We have few people watching me. Why haven't you liked? Why haven't you double tap your screen to like? And if you haven't subscribed, in Yoruba tribe, they would say, Ẹni aṣore fún tí ò bá dúpẹ́, ó dàbí ọlọ́ṣà akónilẹ́rù lọ ni. The meaning of that, for me to translate it, what it means is this: if I do you good and you refuse to thank me or you refuse to appreciate, if one is being done good and the person refuses to say thank you, the person is like a thief who stole from you. In a nutshell, it means if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel so you don't look like a thief. If you're watching me and you haven't subscribed, do not be a thief. Do not let the world consider you a thief. Don't let your conscience tell you that you're a thief. If I can keep your attention for 1 minute, it's not easy. But for the sake of humanity, support your brothers. Super chat, membership, whatever you want to do it to support. One of my nice person, Mr. Rusty, is definitely not online today. If he was online, he would have chatted me up. He was upset yesterday. I wondered why. Please subscribe. I appreciate everyone for joining me today. Tomorrow we are going to be focusing on few things according to what Amit Lal Bahadur points on. Let's also look at the negative things about the Africans ourselves. And then next time we talk about the positive things. With that being said, thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. This is where we stop on today. We've talked about everything about the Black Americans that are negative. We will be focusing on the positive one next time when we are coming on the Black Americans. But Africans, tomorrow it's our turn to whoop our ass, to say the things about us that are also bad. Let's stop pointing the fingers and let's start looking and reflecting as people. That's part of the subject. Amit Alalbad says, hello, I liked the live as soon as I came to this live because you are doing a good thing and we all can give our part as proud African people. Maliko Sondaya. If I can make one person feel good, make one person happy, and make us conscious, that's my aim, for us to be able to, and for people to be able to acknowledge it. It's a great blessing. It's like you gave me money. It's like you gave me money with that part of that word of encouragement. Oh, the enlightened one is here. We're rounding up, and you showed up. I spoke about you in the morning. I spoke about you in the afternoon. I spoke about you. Yes. While we started today's conversation, I was talking about the person who joined me in the interview yesterday. One of the things he touched on regarding culture, traditions, religion, and we spoke about also the Black American relationship and certain things. He was the one who opened my eyes to many things, and it wasn't the same ever since then. Thank you so much, the enlightened one, for joining. We definitely, all you have to do is, this is the day I'm going to be free, then we do the booking. Don't worry, it's not about me, it's about we sharing the knowledge. Thank you for joining. I was already rounding up for the day. We have some discussions, so definitely I'll be reaching out. um Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Amit Lalbado. Thank you, enlightened one. Thank you, every single person. Tomorrow we are going to be talking about the negative part of Africans. We've talked about the negative part of Black Americans, and when we are revisiting it, like I said earlier, we are going to be revisiting and we talk about the good things about the Black Americans. In fact, it is possible. Enlightened one would enlighten us on some things, and then um the next upper day we are going to be talking about the good things about Africans, and then we look for the positive things and we build upon it to create the union and the relationship. With that being said, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and please go to the channel of the enlightened one and subscribe. If you think I know how to speak, if you think my head is correct, go to enlightened one. Your brain will be on fire, your eyes will open to the things that you don't know. But I know it might take time, but there's no problem. Please make sure you do support the enlightened one at AJ. I need to start posting the link whenever I come live. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye for now. Have a blessed day.